What's up my crypto friends? So Bitcoin, are we about to see higher highs now, and are we out of the woods? With the FUD that the North Koreas were hacking and the Russia stuff, and also people taking money out of crypto because of that all doom and gloom of April tax year, are we now going to see some more upside to Bitcoin? Well, it did take a bounce on its low support of its uptrend in the daily candles. And also some good news is coming out about the Australian ETFs. And data analysis says that the whales are not selling at these low levels because they're anticipating 100k Bitcoin this year. So with all that good news and the fear and greed index tipping from extreme fear to fear, surely now's the time for Bitcoin to start shooting to the moon. Well, that is the $1 million question. But for us, without the FUD, the opium and the BS, we need to look into the charts, the news, reviews and overviews to see where we stand with Bitcoin. So if you want to know all that cool information and more, stay tuned and let's get into the video. So before I start today's video, I have to give you the boring waffle of anything you see, hear or choose to ignore is not financial advice. So with that being said, and you giving it the high five that you're not thinking I'm a financial advisor, let's jump straight in and see where the Bitcoin price chart has bounced from that all important daily candles. Boom. So as you can see, this is the daily candles. Bitcoin's been trading in this upwards channel now for some time, and it did take a bounce off this uptrend daily support. So why the bears were calling for 30k Bitcoin, 32k Bitcoin, people that were looking at the trends, charts and the fashions were pretty optimistic that it would take a bounce at these lower levels. Now we are still in a downtrend from the 50-day and the 200-day moving average, but this is nothing to sniff at because we soon will be climbing steadily in this uptrend and maybe taking up to a golden cross. Now if anyone don't know what that is, when the 50-day and the 200-day moving average crosses to a downtrend, it's called the death cross. Crosses and trades to the uptrend, it's called the golden cross. So this is what we're looking for now, for Bitcoin to start shooting up and trading up to these levels here, which would see the anticipated 50k that we're looking to get. Now I think with all this kind of sell action that's around about this level here, around about the 46-47 mark, we still need to err a little bit of caution, but we've got a long way to go before we get from this 41,600 all the way up to the 50k mark. But it is good signs, and we do think that Bitcoin has bottomed out now around this area, because as you can see on many occasions, this support line hasn't been broken by a full solid body candle. And we only wick to the downside when they are trying to liquidate the longs. So what happens is everything gets dumped down, it liquidates the longs, then it shoots, gets brought back up quickly. Now this unfortunately is market manipulation, and it does shoot to the upside. So for me, this is a bullish time to look at how Bitcoin seems to be going. And you also know when Bitcoin was, when you look at the news. Now here Bitcoin holders are targeting 100k is what is preventing the 40% price drawdown. Data suggests long-term holders are in command amid the lack of speculators, and they're showing little interest to selling. So the news is quite bullish on Bitcoin. You can see here that it says there's no major selling from the maturing holders, and that the new kind of panic sellers and the weekends have all been flushed out of the market now. So this says at the same time, on-chain indicators remain much more bullish than spot price action, and those investors still in the market support the idea that BTC USD will go far higher in the future. So they are optimistic that they're going to get to their 100k no matter what. So what price action happens in the short term in between there, they're just leaving to the spot speculators for them to argue it out how they trade on the way up there. But it still is really good news. Now also the US rep introduces a bill to deregulate power zones in Louisiana with potential benefits for Bitcoin mining. So now the miners start getting on board, and if this happens, this is also massive news for Bitcoin, because now we know that the miners were sort of flooding the market because they were having to sell when they all got sort of deregulated and kicked out of China, get rid of their equipment, and they had a load of mining equipment to get on. They thought the big solution was send it over to sort of like Israel or Iran or over to the Far East. That caused a power surge there, which their country didn't like. So now things are starting to settle down on the Bitcoin mining front. we are starting to see a bit more steady analytics on the Bitcoin mining analysis. And last but not least, Australia's first Bitcoin ETF is going to get the green light for next week. Now, the listings of Australia's first Bitcoin BTS exchange traded fund ETF on the CBO equities trading platform will take place next week, serving as the country's first major test of widespread customer demand for cryptocurrency. Now, Australia's a massive country and they're looking to adopt it, but in a nice, safe manner, and it's starting to get the green light go ahead. So this could be a massive more adoption for Bitcoin. So with that, with the price being bouncing nicely off the support, with all the bullish news that the long-term holders are not selling Bitcoin, and with also the news that the miners are starting to get a little bit of good news in their own right now, and Australia's good news, I can see some certainty, good news for Bitcoin once the tax information and all this April tax balloon's out of the way. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think I'm just talking a load of waffle and so is all this news and there is no opium for Bitcoin? Or do you start seeing green lights go ahead now? And also, before I leave you, I wanted to show you that the Fear and Greed Index is out of extreme fear now as of yesterday and is going into fear. So these are the times when extreme fears in the market and fear is you should be accumulating. And with, like I said, Bitcoin bouncing on its lower supports here, any area around here would be a nice time to accumulate some Bitcoin. Now, whether you want to do that just to trade off support and resistance is entirely up to you. But for me, when we are trading around these levels, and of course Ethereum's doing the same kind of bouncing, it is always good to get your bags filled, ready for the moon shoot. And like I said, when it is fear and greed in the market, when it's fearful, you should be buying. So I hope all of this has been great information for you. I hope that you agree with pretty much what I'm saying. Obviously, if you don't, leave a comment below. I'm always open to suggestions. I try and give some non-biased reviews and no opium or no BS. I just see it as the facts, stats and charts say. But as always on Crypto Ripto, trade smart, trade safe and don't get wrecked.